Well, good evening. You are live with the Rev and Mrs. Rev. How's everybody? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh my. Well, how's everybody this evening? Well, we're in for a treat. I hope you feel that way when we're done, but I think so. We're having a good time. I hope you will too. I want to begin with these beautiful words from Luke, the 2nd chapter. I'm going to share the essence of the story. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born. And she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no room for them in the inn. This is the word of the Lord. Well, a tradition that I continue to share started in a one-room schoolhouse not too far from here. And Banner School. Mom, around, noon, or I think it was like after lunch, we would have story time. And she would share from a book. And when I think back about that time, it just seems to me that that was the most special time of school almost. Even better than recess at times. Because she'd come up with some great, great books. Great, great stories to hear from. And I have one of those. And here it is. Now it's going to be backwards when I show it to you, the words, but this is a wonderful, wonderful story that I'm going to share with you. And it is called Christmas Day in the Morning. And this is by Pearl S. Buck, the very famous writer of short stories. Christmas Day in the Morning. Let me turn to the first page. He waked suddenly and completely. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, the hour at which his father had always called him to get up and help with the milking. Strange how the habits of the youth clung to him still. 50 years ago, and his father had been dead for 30 years, and yet he waked at 4 o'clock in the morning still. He had trained himself to turn over and go to sleep, but this morning, because it was Christmas, he did not try to sleep. He slipped back in time, as he did so easily nowadays, now that he had gotten old. And he thought about when he was 15 years of age, still on his father's farm. He loved his father. He had not known it, though, until one day, a few days before Christmas, when he overheard what his father was saying to his mother. "Mary, I hate to call Rob in the mornings. He's growing so fast and he needs his sleep. If you could see how he sleeps when I go in to wake him up, I wish I could manage alone." "Well, you can't, Adam. He isn't a child anymore. It's time he took his turn." "Yes," his father says slowly, "but I sure do hate to wake him." And when he heard these words, something in him woke. His father loved him. He had never thought of it before, taking for granted the tie of their blood. Neither his father nor his mother talked about loving their children. They had no time for such things. There was always so much to do on the farm.
Busy, busy work.
Well, now that he knew his father loved him, there would be no more loitering around and having to be called again. He got up after that, stumbling with sleep, and pulled on his clothes and his eyes tight shut, but he got up. And then on the night before Christmas, that year when he was 15 years of age, he lay for a few minutes thinking about the next day. They were poor, and most of the excitement was in the turkey they had raised themselves and in the minced pies his mother made. His sisters sewed presents, and his mother and father always bought something he needed. Not only a warm jacket maybe, but something more, such as a book, and he saved and bought them each something too. He wished that Christmas, when he was 15, he had a better present for his father. As usual, he had gone to the 10-cent store, bought a tie. It had seemed nice enough until he lay thinking the night before Christmas, and when he wished that he had heard his father and mother talking in time for him to save for something a lot better than a tie. He lay on his side, his head supported by his elbow, and he looked out of the attic window, and the stars were bright, much brighter than he had ever remembered seeing them. And one was so bright, he wondered if it really was the Star of Bethlehem. "Dad," he once asked when he was a little boy, "what is a stable?" "Well, it's just a barn like ours." Well, that Jesus had been born in a barn, and to a barn shepherds and the wise men had come bringing their Christmas gifts. The thought stuck with him like a silver dagger. Why should he not give his father a special gift too? Out there in the barn. He could get up earlier than 4 o'clock, and he would creep into the barn, get all the milking done. He'd do it alone, milk and clean up, and then when his father went in to start the milking, he'd see it all. And he would know who had done it. So at 2:45, he got up, put on his clothes, and he crept downstairs, careful of the creaky boards, and let himself out. The big star hung lower over the barn roof, a reddish gold. The cows looked at him, sleepy and surprised. There's the star.
Yeah.
So boss, he whispered. They accepted him placidly, the cows, and he fetched hay for them, and then got the milking pail and the big milk cans. He'd never milked all alone before, but it seemed almost easy. He kept thinking about his father's surprise. His father would come in and call him, saying that he would get things started while Rob was getting dressed, and he'd go to the barn, open the door, and then he'd go to get those big empty milk cans, but they wouldn't be empty. They'd be standing in the milk house all filled up. Well, the task went most, or at least more easily than usual. Milking for once was not a chore. It was something else, a gift to his father, who loved him. He finished the 2 milk cans, and when they were full, he covered them and closed the milk house door, carefully making sure of the latch. He put the stool in its place by the door, hung up the clean milk pail, and then he went out of the barn and barred the door behind him. Back in his room, he had only a minute to pull off his clothes in the darkness, jump into bed, for he heard his father up. He put the covers over his head to silence his quick breathing. The door opened. Rob! Rob! We have to get up, even if it's Christmas. All right. I'm going out. I'll get things started. The door closed, and he lay still, laughing to himself. In just a few minutes, his father would know. His dancing heart was ready to jump from his body. The minutes were endless. 10, 15. He did not know how many, and he heard his father's footsteps again. The door opened, and he lay still. Rob! Yes, Dad? His father was laughing, a queer, sobbing sort of a laugh. Thought you'd fool me, didn't you? His father was standing beside his bed, pulling away the covers and tickling him and laughing. And oh, my goodness. It's Christmas, Dad. He found his father and clutched him in a great hug. He felt his father's arms go around him. It was dark, and they could not see each other's faces. Son, I thank you. No better thing has ever happened to me. Oh, Dad, I want you to know, I do want to be good. The words broke from him of their own free will. He did not know what to say. His heart was busting with love. Well, I reckon I'll just go back to bed and sleep, his father said. No, the little ones are waked up. Come to think of it, son, I've never seen you children when you first saw the Christmas tree. I was always in the barn. Come on. Let's go downstairs, see the tree. He got up, pulled on his clothes again, and they went down to the Christmas tree. And soon the sun was creeping up to where the star had been. Oh, what a Christmas. How his heart had nearly burst again with shyness and pride as his father told his mother and made the younger children listen about how he, Rob, had got up all by himself. The best Christmas gift I've ever had. I'll remember it, son, every year on Christmas morning so long as I live. They had both remembered it. And now that his father was dead, he remembered it alone. That blessed Christmas dawn, when alone with the cows in the barn, he made his first gift of true love. "50 years later, Rob reflected on that Christmas, and again something in him awakened. He looked over at his wife and remembered their years of Christmas mornings she had made so joyous for him and their children. In that moment, all he wanted was to give her something, to do something to express his love and revive her joy. He'd gotten a petite little diamond. Yes. A diamond star necklace for her when she awoke. And yet, how could just something be enough? And then it struck him like lightning. The true joy of Christmas is to love and to awaken love like a newborn child in a manger. Their children were grown now, and their house was empty, and the laughter of little ones would remain a memory. And yet, because of his father's love, and because of hers, love was alive in him still. And the joy of Christmas was his to give. So quietly he got up in the dark, pulled on his clothes, as he had done so many years before, and crept to his desk, being careful of the creaky boards, and he began to write, "My dearest love." His pen flowed freely across the milk-white papers. "My dearest love, another Christmas day. On this Christmas day in the morning, Merry Christmas. I love you." Let us sing together, Silent Night. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Let us pray.
A Christmas prayer. May the peace and love of Jesus Christ be with you on this Christmas Eve. Bless your home and loved ones. May the joy of God's bright promise, his Son, live forevermore in your heart. And comfort everyone, and may the truth of God's own word be your Christmas star. Amen. Then Jesus again spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. John 8:12. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Well, God bless each of you. Honey, do you have any special words you'd like to share to anyone?
Oh, I think about family this time of year and the past Christmases that we had together with family and friends. I wish all my loved ones, wherever they are, a Merry Christmas, and I will see you soon.
I want to thank my church family. It's truly been a blessing and a gift to me of love to allow me to seek to be your shepherd. Believe it or not, it's been well over a year now, and the honeymoon is over. And God bless you all. We have so many people who are hurting and are grieving tonight. And, it may be hard for some of us to believe, but, a little baby in a manger born some 2,000 years ago can bring everything back together again through love, mend the brokenhearted, heal the sick, and give sight to the blind. Blessings to each and every one of you. We will continue to pray for all those that are hurting today. Each of you, I'm sure, sadly, have had far too many who have been ill and may have even died in the last few days and weeks and months. And our Emmanuel is a wonderful word to remember. I'd like to be a living reminder to you tonight. Emmanuel means God is with you. God is with us.
Yes.
Thanks be to God. So Merry Christmas. We're going to kind of go stage right and stage left, and we're just going to give you a few seconds to kind of look at the beauty that's before you in the background, and then we'll close in a few seconds. God bless you.
And peace be with you all.
Amen.